Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. We are back for another Niko and I podcast. The current time of day is 8 p.m. inside of Memorial Stadium, and I have a Nebraska volleyball superstar for you guys here tonight. Her name is Lainey Choboy. Lainey, how are you feeling about being on the show tonight?
I'm excited.
Lainey is excited to be on the Niko and I podcast. So, Lainey, go ahead and tell the people, why did you decide to come to the University of Nebraska?
I was originally committed to Minnesota, but due to a coaching change, I decommitted and had to decide between two schools. It was here in Texas, and
Minnesota?
and Minnesota, I guess. But yeah, and I chose to come here because the team chemistry, the culture here. Obviously, I wanted to win, and I could have done that at either program, but I wanted to compete, and I just think that where I want to go, I think that Nebraska will lead me there.
Funny story, me and Lainey actually met within her first 2 or 3 weeks being here, and we were friends right away. And one of the things that I felt connected us as friends from the beginning, I asked her, why did you end up coming to the university? And she literally said, I could have went anywhere in the U.S., but I chose to come here and compete. And it's a very unique situation, too, because for any of my volleyball fans out there, whenever a school like this has a locked-in libero, it's very rare to see two liberos on the same team at this type of level. I mean, they're two of the top, in my opinion, the best two liberos inside of the NCAA right now are on the same exact team, which is very unique. It's a great situation. But her saying that I came here just to compete, I mean, I think that is just amazing, and that just shows what type of person the character she is. So, Lainey, you had a very unique high school career growing up. You were an All-American. You were killing it. You were on the oh my God, I think it was the PAC, CAC, all American something game. I want you to go ahead and break down all of your accomplishments leading up before you got the Nebraska scholarship as a high schooler.
Oh gosh. Okay, I would say freshman year of high school, I think it was, or sophomore year, I was on the USA U18 team, and we went to Worlds, and we placed third at Worlds. And then the 2 years later, because of COVID, we couldn't do the Pan Am Cup that year, so we made it the next year. So then I was on the Pan Am Cup team in U19, and we won gold there. And then, let's see, I was at the Under Armour games. My team lost in 5, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of AVCA rankings in high school and little stuff like that. But I would say that being here is one of my biggest accomplishments.
Keep the mic in your hand. So why? Why did you put yourself through everything? Did you outwork everybody, or were you just a natural growing up?
I would say volleyball was in my life since I was born. I was at tournaments as a baby running around with the volleyball, and my mom played in college. My sister played a little bit, so it's kind of just been in my blood. But I would say I definitely worked really hard, and I was in the gym a lot more than most people, and I was just always trying to do something to get better every single day, and I think that paid off.
It did. All of that work did pay off, and she is currently here killing it. And you were recently a part of a world record. Yeah. I was there in the stands, so she's going to go ahead and break down everything. I'd love to hear from your point of view. So this is your freshman year, kind of. You came last semester here, blah, 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 whatever. You're a half sophomore, half freshman, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead and tell me, what did it feel like walking out of the tunnel? Because from a fan's perspective and knowing you firsthand, it's I had goosebumps. I mean, seeing you guys walk outside the tunnel, the atmosphere, all the people inside of the stadium, it was just electric. So go ahead and just walk me through everything. The pregame, what it was like walking out, playing the game, and then the concert afterwards.
I would say that when I was choosing what school I wanted to come to, I was told that stadium match was going to happen, and I was actually one of the very first people to know, even their own team didn't know. So, yeah. So then when I got here, it was talked about and stuff, but I don't think that far out you can have a gauge of, how big it's actually going to be. So then when the day came and we're walking out in the tunnel and we can feel, literally feel the noise in our heart, it was just, shaking our bodies. We walked out, we looked up, and the fans were just everywhere. Everywhere you looked, they were just yes, bleeding red and a sea of red. And it was just a crazy experience. And then I just know that women's sport is growing so much, and to know that we set a women's record, not even the Olympics has that many people. So it's to know that women's sport is growing, especially in college, and volleyball in general is really special.
I mean, it was amazing. You even had Stephen A. Smith on SportsCenter talking about it. I mean, that if that within itself doesn't tell you how big of an event it was. I mean, there were people all across the United States talking about that. I mean, it was much bigger than volleyball that day. It was just amazing for the school, for the community, for everything, for you guys, for how many people on your team? Is it 12, 13? 14 for all 14 girls, man. I mean, the atmosphere is amazing. What you guys bring to the university just as a culture and just like a winning record, I mean, it does a lot more than you guys just think. I know our football program isn't where it used to be, but we're still living through you guys. I mean, you guys are, just killing it. So that's amazing. And so, Lainey, I don't think a lot of people get to know about your personal life or the inside, who Lainey is. And if I can summarize it within one word, I just got to say hilarious. Lainey is a very funny person. And I don't know if you try to be funny or if it's intentional, but generally it's always a fun time talking to you. You're always going to get a laugh out of her. A very goofy girl. If you're watching her on the court too, if you're watching her emotions or whatever she does after a play, she's always hyped. She's always energetic. She's the hype friend, and that's how I can describe her personality to be. So, Lainey, what is the most, I'd say, difficult part of your day to day when you're going through being a collegiate athlete, a D1 athlete? What would you say is the most difficult part of your day?
I would say what's most difficult is like separating volleyball and life because my coaches are a little bit worried that like I'm gonna get burnt out because I put so much into it. So they want me to have something outside of volleyball, but it's so difficult for me. Like after practice, I want to come on, I want to watch film, and I want to talk about volleyball all the time. But I think being able to separate it, especially like if you have a bad day at practice, not letting it move on to the next day and like affect your personality, and just come in the next day happy and like ready to take on the next day because it's hard when you have so much pressure put on you at this level. So being able to like separate that is definitely difficult.
I gotta say, I mean, you say that, or your coaches are worried that you are gonna get burnt out, but at the same time, too, it almost sounds like a coach's dream, like somebody who's gonna go home, get film, want to talk about volleyball, want to get better. I mean, it's a fine line between doing too much or being too passionate about it. But in my eyes, the way that I'm wired is that I see you as a very passionate person who wants to see your team be successful. And the only thing that's on your mind is just having a winning career and being probably one of the best volleyball players to come to Nebraska. Like I genuinely see that within your future and your mindset and your mentality. Can you go ahead and tell the people, how did you adapt that mentality? Because that's not something, or maybe it is something you were born with, but at the same time too, I feel like there had to be some type of life event to push you to want to be, this hungry, this drive for success that you had. Where did you get this?
I would say from a very young age, I started playing up by 4 years. I was on an 11s team when I was 7, and I just continued to like move up from there. And so I was hanging with my teammates, and they were 3-4 years older than me. So I think at that age, I was like, wow, like I could do something special with this. So from a very young age, I said that I wanted to play in the Olympics, and then I wanted to be in the USA pipeline. And so I've did that in high school, but now the next step is obviously like national teams and stuff. So I would say from a pretty young age, I realized, okay, like this is something that I was born to do, and like I want to make everyone that helped me along the way proud, and show them that they got me where I wanted to go.
Preach. That's insane. From 7 years old, already playing with 11-year-olds, and then by the time she was a freshman in high school, she was already just balling out, traveling across the world, going to Under Armour All-American games. That's impressive. So I know I kind of jumped from topic to topic, but your personal life, what if you could describe, who you are as a person or how your friends and teammates see you? Go ahead and tell us, what do you bring to the table in the locker room for the Nebraska volleyball team? I mean, you guys are a bunch of characters. I mean, the volleyball team is a very fun team. You're a very unique person. So go ahead and just break that down, like your personality and the dynamic that you bring to the team, to the culture.
I would definitely say that I'm just this energetic person, and that's what most people would say about me, is I just have a ton of energy. And then in the locker room, I would just say like before games and stuff, I have a lot to say, and like I've been a leader my whole life, and even though our team is so young this year, it doesn't feel like that because our freshmen the rest of the team like lets our freshmen have a role, and I think that's super important in a really good team, is that everyone has a role on the team. So I would just say, people say that I have a lot of energy. I instill belief in people when like they might not believe in themselves, and I would say that every single freshman does something special to bring to the table, and then obviously we have our big older leaders, so that help out too.
Yeah. Hey, listen, age doesn't define how good of a leader you can be. If you have that mentality, if you are performing, if you're starting, if you're going out there and doing your job, I believe that you're leading by example. And so the words that come after that are people are only going to listen to you for as good as you perform, in my opinion, for what you're doing outside and on the court. And as you guys heard before, she's outside, she's studying film, she's passionate, she wants to be one of the best players to ever come through here. And so people are going to look up to her, people are going to respect her. The fans at home, they're going to be watching that, and they see that every single time she plays. So, Lainey, go ahead and tell me what's about your day to day. I mean, before we mentioned that it is hard for you to kind of separate between volleyball and your personal life. What does a day to day look like for you?
Is this when I have practice or when I don't?
Give us your craziest day of the week.
Okay, my craziest day of the week is probably I get up, and my class is not too early, so I get up around like 9, get to lift at 9:30. That's usually about 45 minutes, and then I will go to class at 11, and then that ends at 12:15. I'll go grab some lunch, and then I'll go straight to the gym. We either have film or pre-practice things that we have to do before we go in, and then we'll practice from 3 to 6. And then after that, we'll come home, come get dinner, and then try to do some schoolwork. Most of the time, I just fall asleep.
That is a packed schedule, especially being mid-season too. And for the record, also, I believe you're still 19, right?
I'm 18.
She's 18 years old, so technically she was supposed to be in high school last February, but she was already in college working, and that's how it is for most volleyball girls. If you're recruited that young, then you do come the second half of your senior year. And so was that difficult for you, having to leave prom and all of your friends back home to come here? I mean, you do know technically coming here was coming to paradise, but at the same time too, it's like a full-time job. I mean, you're traveling, you're doing all these different things, you have to balance schoolwork, life, everything. Was it hard leaving home?
I would say that I had been away from home so much in high school just with volleyball. Like, I really never spent a weekend at home. And I really didn't enjoy high school that much because, I just wasn't vibing with my school and, things like that. And I just wanted to do what I loved most and not do anything else. So I would say coming here was what I needed at that time. And I obviously am going to have my struggles being this far away from home, but it's definitely what I needed, and it got me ready for a season, and here we are.
Man, here we are. This podcast has been going great so far, so Lainey, thank you. I know it's been a busy day for you. You got a lot of things going on, but to go ahead and wrap up this podcast, do you mind sharing something special with all the fans out there and all your supporters? What is something that you do as a pregame ritual before every single thing? Do you have any, what is the word I'm looking for? I know, intuition, suspicions of, what is it called? It's
Wait, don't do that to me. Don't do that. Don't make me mess it up.
The word? Oh, you don't want to say it.
Wait.
It's superstitious. Yes, superstition. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you for helping me with that. Stitions. We're gonna call it stitions for this. Superstitions. Do you have any superstitions that you do before every single game? Is it a lucky pair of socks? Is it listen to a certain song? And then go ahead and tell us, do you get nervous before you play a game? When you're out there, you have confidence, you have energy, but going out there, do you get the same feeling no matter the opponent?
I would say I don't really have any superstitions. I don't have lucky hair. I don't have lucky, anything that I wear, but I would say something I do before every game is just braid all my teammates' hair. I try to get ready pretty early so that I have time to do their hair, so that's fun. They always ask for some crazy things, so I get to try new things. And then, what did you say on the court?
It was when you're playing opponents, you get nervous.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I actually don't usually get nervous. But for some reason, I actually was nervous to play Minnesota. Really? And I don't know if it was because I was committed there. I have, I don't know, I don't know what it was. But that was probably the first time in a really long time I've had butterflies before a game. Even before a stadium game, I was not really nervous. But for Minnesota, for some reason, I was a little bit nervous, which is so weird.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I know I did say I wanted to end it, but there's actually one more question I was thinking about. When you have a very unique, I'd say, style when you're playing the game. I know before we were out, we were talking about this. So one time after a track meet, Lainey was like, "I'm faster. I bet I'm faster than you." And I'm like, "You're not fast. What are you talking about, bro?" I raced her in the parking lot randomly. I think it was like 10 or 15 meters. Bro, she beat me like straight up. I'm an 800-meter runner and she's a volleyball player, so I'm thinking like, there's no way she can beat me. I'm a D1 athlete, bro. She beat me, and I don't know if it has to do because she is short, low to the ground, powerful. I don't know what the reason may have been, but she genuinely beat me. And so something I was talking to her about, I don't know if you guys have seen the viral clip. I'll put it up right here. Is that she? It was like a saving play where she ended up diving, and she like the way that she ran so low to the ground, and her body movements were so unique. And so I asked her, I was like, "Lainey, like, how did you learn how to do that?" And you just kind of laughed. I'm like, "What are you talking about? I do that every single day." So one thing I wonder is, like, do you practice plays like those? Do you like dream about plays like those, or do those just kind of happen on the fly?
Honestly, I think that those type of plays are really a mentality thing. Like, okay, I am not letting any ball touch the ground. So it's like, I'm going to do what I can to get it up. So I would say that play at Stanford was really tough because I had to track it over my shoulder. And I lost it for a second and I got a little bit scared, but I was like, I know it's far, so I'm just going to start sprinting. So then I found it, whatever, and I got it. But I just think that's more of a mentality. Like, I want my teammates to succeed and I want my team to succeed. So it's like, I'm going to keep this ball on the floor so that they can get a kill for our team. So I don't know. I think in practice we're actually not allowed to chase balls like that down. He doesn't let us because he'll blow the whistle so that we don't get hurt. Like, I'm known for like running into things. I run into walls, poles, stuff like that, trying to get balls. But like, I never really get hurt. Like, I see my surroundings and I just dive around it, you know. But he doesn't let us chase it down. So I would say you just gotta go run for it. Give some effort.
It's a mentality thing. I think that's the quote of the podcast. So Lainey, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. This was the Niko at Night podcast with Lainey Choiboy. We're going to wish her luck throughout the season for a national championship is what we're hoping for. Adios.
Adios.
Hey, what's going on? 93.7 The Ticket. My name is Niko Schultz, and to my left, I have the newest addition to the Nebraska volleyball team. Her name is Skylar Pierce. Skylar has a lot of different accolades to her name. The most notable one to me personally is that she used to be a soccer referee.
Oh my
Yeah, she used to be a soccer referee, and then she played basketball, and then she picked up this part-time gig, something called volleyball, where she went to one of the most dominant schools in the entire nation here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and she is super excited to be here. Now, if she doesn't mind, I'm going to run through some of her accolades. So in 2023, she actually made it to the U21 team, right? U21, got that right. She made the U21 team, and they competed in Croatia. Back in 2022 as well, she also made the U19 training team, so she made her way up. She's moving up the ranks. She's a baller. And then in, what was I going to say, third in the nation, technically, but she's actually first in the nation. She's the number one recruit, left outside hitter. Right. We got that right. We did it. Max Prep All-American, and the list of accolades just goes on and on and on. So I got to ask, Sky, how you feeling about being on the show tonight?
I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Let's go. Let's go.
Do it.
Lexington, Kansas, right?
Lenexa.
Lenexa, Kansas. I already said I was going to mess that up. So she's from Kansas. She should still be in high school right now, actually. All her friends are still in high school.
Yeah.
And I asked her, are you sad to leave? And she's like, no, I'm happy to be here, which is a great answer. She's ready. She's already acclimated with the team here. So I'm going to go ahead and let Sky here break down her story. So go ahead and talk to us. Why the University of Nebraska?
Oh, gosh. I chose Nebraska because, one, the volleyball team is extremely, extremely good. They have done all the things that I want to be able to accomplish in the future, and have done so much for the sport of volleyball and women's sports in general. So I'm excited to be a part of a team, culture-wise and coaching-wise, and just everything about them. Also, they're really close to home, and a big thing for me was that my family could come to games, or just so I could go home to visit if anything happens. So those are some two big reasons why I chose Nebraska.
Heck yeah. And so your upbringing in sports, obviously you were very fit, very athletic. Start out with soccer, and then as you transition, you had basketball, volleyball. You realized that being a tri-sport athlete was very difficult. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to be a soccer referee, stack some bread on the side while I do the other things. Go ahead and break that down. That's like the coolest thing ever in my opinion. I just got to say.
Yeah, I started repping soccer when I was 11, I think. And
that's crazy.
From then, I kind of fell in love with it. I liked being around the kids and just being that person in their life, like how I was when I was a kid, and having that ref, and also just seeing the double side of how hard it actually is to be a ref, and dealing with parents or coaches and all of that extra stuff. So definitely gave me more appreciation, I would say, for referees, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. It just came with a lot of meeting new people, actually have some close friends from just reffing and meeting people through that. So, and it got me connected with soccer still. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was her first sport, and then let's go ahead and transition into basketball here. So basketball, you actually thought that basketball was going to be like the low and behold thing for you, right? The sport.
Sure did.
Go ahead and break that down. I mean, your journey, how you got into basketball, and how you thought that you actually were going to be like a basketball star. Not saying you weren't, but like volleyball ended up being, your bread and butter. So go ahead and break that down.
Basketball was kind of like my family's thing. Like my mom's a twin, so like her side was volleyball, and my side was going to be like basketball. My brothers all played basketball, so it was kind of like our family side of the thing to do. So I was playing basketball practically my whole life, and then I transitioned to volleyball when one of my teammates on my soccer team asked me to join one of her club's team, and her parents were like the directors, so they kind of got me introduced to it. And after that first practice, I just kind of fell in love with it. They told me that I could be pretty good at it, so I just kept working at it. And eventually I dropped soccer and focused on basketball and volleyball. And in the end, more of my time kind of fell into volleyball, just wanting to improve my game in the volleyball world. And I slowly drifted away from basketball, which was sad and hard to do for sure. But once I really fell in love with the sport and realized how far I could go with it, I just knew volleyball was it for me. And I got to play high school basketball, which was fun, and then getting my 6 games in my senior year before I left to come here. So
quick 6.
Just a quick 6.
Quick pickup,
get some records in, do my best and just finish strong. But yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, weren't you a freshman starter?
Yes.
So you're a freshman starter, so you started out 4 years technically, right? Mm-hmm. And so how far did you end up making it as a team? I read something, I don't know if you carried your team all the way to state or not, but.
We did go to state my junior year. That was supposed to be my last season because I didn't know 6 games was like, who would play 6 games?
6 games, 6 games.
I didn't know that was a thing. But so junior year was my last season, and we went to state that year. And then I fouled out our first game at state. So my last game, I swear I didn't touch her. I swear it wasn't me. It was someone else.
She flopped, guys. She flopped.
Yeah,
She's seeing this.
Exactly.
She flopped.
They were against me, but it's fine because I came back for
They were hating on her.
No, they were. Another story. But
right, she's gonna go crazy at them.
But yeah, we did go to state, and that was the first time we've been to state for a while in my district. So that was pretty fun, and just to do it with those seniors. But yeah.
Breaking records in a multitude of different sports.
Yes.
From the humble referee days all the way up until basketball,
exactly.
to fouling out, into only playing 6 games, and then to the University of Nebraska. You've had one heck of a journey.
One journey for sure.
I feel like you had some, residual motivation too, especially from your favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. She's been a long-term fan, guys. Like even before Mahomes was born, she was a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. She knows her and Mahomes are like this, and Mahomes, if he sees this, she was a supporter of the Chiefs. I got to say, as a Chicago Bear fan, I'm in shambles right now. We are absolutely in pain. We haven't been in the Super Bowl in I don't even know how many years.
You can become a Chiefs fan and you'll
Nah. I'm not a diehard like you, so I couldn't do it. But
No,
go ahead
could.
and talk about that atmosphere, because, you're obviously in Kansas. What is it like? 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years?
Sure is.
What's that like?
It's awesome. I feel like it's brought Kansas City so much closer. Just going downtown and seeing all the Chiefs fans and just seeing how supported everybody is, and even with the parade and everything that we get to do to celebrate them, and how much Mahomes and all the Chiefs players kind of give back to KC, doing their volunteer work, or just Patrick Mahomes having his half-flight partnership with the KC current women's soccer team, all of the stuff that they're doing. It's just impacted Kansas City and has made Kansas City better. So definitely big Chiefs fan. They're doing awesome things, and I'm excited for next season.
Must be nice.
Watching it this year, it was so much fun because I was here watching it instead of at home.
Oh no.
Yes, I was here, and we were we were at the Telegraph watching with my teammates, and it was me and Lexi, die hard. We were cheering on the Chiefs. And we knew they had it in the bag.
That's crazy to say, bro.
We knew they had it in the bag. I was like, don't worry. The first half, yeah. The second half, though, I was like, he's coming back. It's fine. We know Patty's gonna carry. They needed that.
Patty's gonna carry.
They needed a half to let them warm up.
Y'all are cool like that, bro. Yo, Patty, first name basis, nickname basis. Patty's gonna carry. Speaking of Patty, actually, I trained with his QB coach when I was in high school, and so I feel like I have some type of, I was telling her, technically, I'm a Super Bowl champion, because, what if I threw a ball good one day, and then the coach smiled, and then it went to Mahomes, and then Mahomes was in a good mood, and look at him now, bro.
Exactly.
You got her calling her Patty and stuff because he's winning 3 Super Bowls. I don't know anybody that can get away with that besides that man, Patrick Mahomes. But yes, transitioning back into Nebraska volleyball, right? And so I want you to break down your POV and how things were for the Memorial Stadium what do you even call that? Memorial
my
Stadium,
gosh.
outside volleyball game. First time in history, right, for women's sports. It was a huge moment. Break down the emotions, where you were that day, and just, taking it all in as an incoming recruit.
Yeah, so I came down here for volleyball day. I just got back from my U21 games literally that Monday.
From
so
Croatia, right?
We were in Mexico for that
Mexico.
one. But we came back here, and so we drove down here that day, and it was so much fun just because all the recruits were here from my class and some of the the 25 recruits. So it was fun being around like with them and with all the girls' parents. And from our view, we were like right on the court, practically like those bleachers that were right next to it at the end. So just seeing it from that view and having the planes fly over us, or just being down there and seeing like all the emotion up close was very memorable. It was definitely a very emotional day, to say the least. And just seeing what those women have done for women's sports, and knowing that all of us were going to be a part of a program that's taking such a big step for them, it was just very monumental and definitely a memorable moment for sure.
Man, she's like, I'm up next. That's gonna be me next year, bro. Why couldn't y'all wait one more year? I could have been the first. But hey, you're gonna start. You're part of history too. I mean, that's gonna be a legacy game for you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
well, how many games in is that game? Is it like within the first 10 games of you guys' season, or is it the first one?
They did that Memorial game before the season even started. So
Oh
that was
dang,
like
I forgot.
August 30th, I think was the date. So that was like
Dang.
even before they went out and played games.
Run it back. Run it back.
Literally.
And you guys had a concert after too. Like what?
Yeah.
When has that ever
Just
been a
threw a
thing?
concert in
Start
there.
just throw a concert
Yeah.
after the game.
Why not?
Why not?
Why
Just throw a
not?
concert.
No one's doing anything. Like, might as well. Like,
Hey, we called it volleyball
You were
day.
already there.
We canceled class too. We canceled class.
It was
Imagine.
classes, work. It was volleyball day.
Volleyball day, bro. So
Volleyball day in Nebraska.
So volleyball, let's keep on talking about this, right? Because you guys are in beach volleyball, and I'm on the track team, and so I'm lifting, and I'm like, hey, yo, I'm walking over to like the records and stuff like that. Your like face is all over the new record boards. You have like the top 5 or vertical jump, the horizontal whoop de whoop, something like that. And so talk about that. What training's been like at the collegiate level? I mean, you've already been training at a very high level in high school. Is it a lot different than what you're used to, or go ahead and break that down?
Definitely the weights and like doing like lifting and stuff has been a little bit different, just because obviously it's going to be harder weights and doing it more often and at a definitely higher level, and then with different girls and all the whole environment for sure is a little different. But then even like on the volleyball side and like training, that's been different too, just because I'm with different coaching staff and getting to know them on that level too, and just learning how they like the coach and their style as well. But both of those have definitely been a little bit of adjustments, just jumping kind of right into those two things. But it's been fun. I think I definitely learned and I've improved a lot, just trying to focus on what they've been teaching me and what I've been learning in both sides of the lift and in the gym. So,
I mean, how do you see your game advancing too? I mean, you're behind obviously some pretty prestigious girls. I mean, you got Harper Murray to look up to, and Marion, and all these other girls on the team. I mean, how's the connection been, and like the training? Because I know when you're in a competitive environment, you definitely feed off of that, and it does eventually make you a better athlete. Like, how are you responding to the competition at practice?
I think I'm responding well. It's just been a lot of fun, just because being in the beach season, I got to build those relationships pretty early with the girls. So had those connections going into indoor practice has made it definitely a lot easier, just adapting to that style. But competitive-wise, definitely walking into a gym of very competitive girls and girls who definitely have a chip on their shoulder, especially coming off a lot last season. So knowing me and Liv both knew that we were coming into a gym that we were going to have to compete every day really hard. And both of us have already come from other gyms where we knew that we were pretty much doing that every day. So that was nice to come into a gym that everybody had the same goal, that everybody's trying to work hard and just pushing each other to be the best players that we can. So I definitely think that's making me a better player.
100%.
Sure.
And so as you guys can hear, I mean, she's adjusting to the training very well, but have you taken into account the meaning behind being a Nebraska volleyball girl? I mean, you have an entire city and an entire fan base around you, and you guys do have a target on your back too. I mean, you guys are the second best team in the entire nation too. I mean, how's all that been? I mean, I'm sure your social media following has just exploded as of recently too, and all these different factors. I mean, you have the whole entire city behind you. Kind of how does that feel to be a sense like literally a literal superstar in the town of Lincoln, Nebraska? How's it feel?
It feels amazing. I mean, just being around the girls, and even like we went to like NIT during the volleyball season, and we were in KC for that tournament, and like just seeing the girls run up to like Lainey and Lexi, like literally like crying over them and being like, oh my gosh, like you're Lainey Choboy. Like seeing those interactions with them and just like knowing like I'm gonna be stepping into those shoes and like that's gonna be me. Like it's definitely a very surreal moment because I remember being those little girls looking up to
running up.
the older girls. So it definitely was
Oh, snap.
surreal to say the least. And just having this fan base, like the fan base coming to Lincoln was definitely a big reason why I chose here too, just because their fan base is so strong in the sport that they have for women's sports and volleyball in particular. Like, you don't see that anywhere else for sure. So knowing that I was going to be coming into a gym and a state that supported volleyball and was going to support me through thick and thin, like that's something you don't get everywhere. So knowing that I was going to walk into a gym that had that was important.
Right. And then I want to go back to a little bit towards your childhood too. I mean, you did mention that you grew up in a basketball family and that you have 2 older brothers, right? Mm-hmm. You have 2 older brothers, so you're the only girl in the family. How did that make an impact for where you are today? I mean, athletic-wise, family-wise, like all that. I know your parents are Joaquin and Debbie. I unfortunately could not find the name of your 2 brothers, but go ahead and break all that down.
Definitely. My brothers are very competitive, to say the least.
How much older are they than you?
Oh, we got big age gaps. My
Really?
oldest one, Jordan, he's 16 years older than me, and then the younger one is 5 years older than me, Justin. And we've always been competitive, whether it was card games, on the basketball court, playing football, baseball, whatever sport it was, we were competing against each other.
Card games?
Yes. No, card games get so fired. We get so fired up. Like it's.
What card games though?
Oh gosh, Uno, Phase 10,
Oh, yeah.
spoons,
Uno
whatever.
game.
It doesn't matter.
Dog.
It doesn't matter.
Spoons, I love that game.
Oh,
Keep going.
We literally, it's always competitive, so I think that definitely built my competitive nature, and my mom and dad are pretty competitive, so they fed into that for sure.
Yep.
So it definitely built how competitive I am, and they definitely push me and support me, and my family's probably like my biggest supporters through everything, and it's just awesome to have like that family connection and knowing that they're gonna push me. Even if I don't want to hear it, they're always pushing me to be the best, so that's always nice to hear and have a family that's that nice and like connected in that way.
Close knit. And they're close to home too.
Yes,
What's
they
the
are.
drive from where you're from? 4?
It's like 3 hours.
Oh, that's nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, next time they want to play spoons, let me know, bro. I'm
Yes,
in.
no, 3 hours. It's really light, and it's like literally a straight line drive, so it's an easy drive for sure.
Easy drive for sure. This has been an amazing podcast so far, and if you don't mind, I'd love to close it out with some of your goals for this upcoming next season. I know it's hard to anticipate what's going to happen next, but I mean, like, what are your individual and personal goals for this upcoming 2025 season, right? Or 24 season?
24 season.
24 season. It's not 25. It's not 2025.
Personal goals for me are just to keep improving and working on what my coaches, staff, and what my lifting coach wants me to work on and improving in those areas. But also, just competing for a spot, even if we don't really know what's going to happen next. So just make sure that I'm ready for anything and being prepared. If I need to be on the court, then I'll be ready to be on the court.
She's staying ready.
Staying ready.
And then any messages you have, you did mention too, I mean, growing up, you used to be one of those girls who used to be fangirling over another volleyball athlete. Any advice for any girl who wants to be in your position, a volleyball athlete who wants to become like you?
My biggest advice would probably be to balance everything, because it definitely can be a lot, and to build a village that you can kind of connect to and talk to about those things. But just keep working hard in the gym and outside the gym. Mindset's a big thing in this sport, so make sure you're building your mindset, because it's going to start to play a factor once you get into the high school level and especially in college level. So just keep working hard, and if you dream big, you're going to get to those goals.
You dream big, you're going to get to the goals. I couldn't have said it any better myself. This has been Sky Pierce, guys. Sky, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And guys, root for her for have a very successful season this upcoming year. And this has been the Niko Night Podcast with 93.7 The Ticket, and we're out. See you guys. Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. Here today, I have such a special guest for you guys. You guys will not believe who is to my left. I have Becca Alec, the Nebraska superstar volleyball player who just recently was a part of the world record-breaking team, currently on a 6-0 streak. Becca, how you feeling about being on the show tonight?
I'm excited. I love doing fun stuff with you, so this will be really cool.
This is going to be great. For all those who don't know out there, me and Becca are actually pro Fortnite players on the side. When I'm not doing track and she's not doing her volleyball thing, we're actually on the sticks. Me, her, and actually her brother, who plays basketball here. We all run up Fortnite. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Becca, first things first, this is a question I love to start out all podcasts with. Why Nebraska? You can take it.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay. Honest, I chose Nebraska just for the appreciation they have for female athletes. You see not a lot of people fill in the stands of women's basketball and other women's sports, basketball being my first passion. And I chose volleyball because I wanted to be remembered. I wanted my work to be accounted for something. And I could just not get over how insane the Husker Nation fan base is. And they proved it that they go above and beyond like they do. And Wednesday, when we had the memorial game, it just showcased just how dedicated and loving and loyal our fan base is, because they want to be a part of it. I have people hitting me up saying, man, I wish we had it's like 2005 or 6, just, everyone wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, Husker Nation was honestly what drew me to the university.
That's amazing. I mean, what you just said before, wanted to be remembered. What better way to do that by setting the single world record of attendance for a women's event inside of Memorial Stadium? I got to say, I was on the sidelines just cheering you guys on, and I was so happy for you guys. Watching you guys walk out of that tunnel, I had goosebumps. Seeing the Jets flying over the stadium, I mean, the atmosphere was actually just insane that night. So, leading into my next point, I would like to give some of our fans, our viewers, some inside access. So, go ahead and describe to me, what did it feel like playing the game, and then transition us into after the game, the concert, and the experience of that?
Oh, man. So I guess leading into the game, just a mixture of anxiety and excitement. Like, I'm about to go play the biggest game in my entire life. And, oh, my goodness, it's really hard to put into words. I've been asked this question a lot, and every time I just feel like what I have to say doesn't do it justice. So leading up to the actual event, just my stomach is doing backflips, my heart's racing. You're constantly looking in the mirror, hoping you look all right, just finding an excuse to make you feel like you have a grip on what's actually about to happen. And then actually running out in front of everyone, I was just filled with gratitude, just tons and tons of gratitude, just feeling beyond blessed that I get to do this. I'm like constantly asking myself, like, why me? We've had a ton of talented women come through this program, and you wonder why they didn't get that for their senior year. And the fact that I'm only a sophomore and I've experienced so much here already, it was just, again, I was feeling gratitude and just, I don't know, you see the film, I'm just smiling like a kid on Christmas. And then when we finished the actual match, they just were playing a lot of our favorite songs, and fireworks and drones were putting on this amazing performance, which everyone saw. But actually being on there, you just feel like one of the most special people in the whole world. Like, having that many eyes on you and everyone being like, oh, it's amazing what you've done. It's like, it really wasn't me. Like, you guys are the reason why it's such a big deal. So you're like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? What is going on? That was, just overwhelmed and beyond blessed. It was so much fun.
Man, insane. And then the concert after, how did you feel about that?
Oh my gosh, the concert.
It was so crazy that you forgot about the concert. Literally.
Yeah, no, I literally forgot about the concert. Scotty McCreery, dude, he's a great performer. So he was doing a bunch of 90s throwbacks. Apparently he draws a lot of his information from George Strait, one of his songs actually being Damn Straight. So, yeah, he crushed it. I mean, there's a bunch of songs. I like to line dance when I have the energy and time to.
Fun fact right here, line dancer.
Yes, I will go out to Playmore on Sunday nights, which is country night. And so when I do it, mostly in the spring season, so I'll go out there and I just was dancing my booty off. It was so much fun. My brother's girlfriend was in town, and she's a big country fan as well. So we made it over to my teammates, and we were just swinging each other around, jumping up and down. And it was just a great time, and he's a great performer. And his songs alone that he's written were amazing. Yeah, it was just a great show. And he was wearing a Husker volleyball shirt, so that was really cool.
The nation, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very cool.
Insane. Yeah, going back to what you said, I mean, that's such a magical night. I mean, not even just for the state of Nebraska, for the whole entire sports world. I mean, you had Stephen A. Smith talking about it. You got people all the way from across the country mentioning Nebraska volleyball. How many girls is on the team? Is it
14?
14 girls. And you asked the question, why you? Why do you feel that you deserve this? I'm still young. I'm still a sophomore. You've already experienced what it's been like to be a national championship contending team. You've had 2 very successful seasons so far here. And I honestly think that there's no one more deserving than you. I mean, knowing the type of character that you are, knowing the type of person, I mean, not even just taking volleyball aside, but even just having classes with you and how me and you first met. I mean, you were just a super just grateful person to be here, just be around, and you just have great energy too. It's so funny talking to you too, because, other people, like I remember the other day, I watched a video of you and a little girl, and she was like crying to meet you. You know what I'm talking about, right? And she came up to you guys, took this great picture. Nevaeh, shout out Nevaeh if you're watching this. And it was just so cool to see, like, Becca's like my idol. And then when I think of Becca, I think about Becca like from my econ class last year. We're just struggling to get through, and we're just going through the grind. And then you have this almost like other life where, Nebraska Nation, like the whole entire world is behind you, supporting what you do. And, there's just so much going on, which is honestly a great lead into my next point. what do you feel is your biggest kind of day-to-day struggle? Like when you wake up in the morning, you have the good and the bad, and you kind of have your worries. What do you think is just one block you feel that you have, just as a student athlete and a person, and with everything going on at the moment?
Man, I'd say just my current one is my schedule, just time management. Every year, my time management skills get stressed. So freshman year, the actual workload was pretty nice. And then even just by the next semester, it got amped up. And then this year, just with obviously the classes progressing and the competition raising in the gym, we have a huge class. There are 5 girls, and they're all studs. So just the overall competition in the gym has gone up, hence more stress on my body and mind. Stress that I want, but it's still stress. So, and also just making time for my relationship with God. I'm really big in my faith, and you got to make time for him because he's the reason why I wake up in the morning, got air in my lungs, and making time for him, whether it's before bed, during the day, just trying to keep him on my mind. It's hard because you got all of these things where they're all wanting your attention. So just finding time for what's important has honestly been the hardest thing for me lately.
I agree. Yeah. You and like so many other different athletes, we all struggle with time management. It's very difficult, but for you, it's definitely multiplied by a whole lot more. I mean, you guys are traveling state to state, and you have a lot more eyes on you than any other sport. I feel like the only sport that could really compare to where you is possibly football and basketball. But even for you guys too, I mean, you guys are within the top 5 every single year within the nation of volleyball. You're always talked about. You guys have a legendary status to live up to when it comes to Coach Cook and everything that he's accomplished. I mean, as long as you're taking it day by day, and what you said before too, keeping your faith, I feel like that's super important. That's also something that I've recently got into too. Growing up, really wasn't that religious, but recently since I've got to college, all these stresses, like you said before, the scheduling, it was just so much, and I feel like I had so much going on that I just needed to find something to keep the peace. So just praying and giving it all to God, and just being grateful for, like you said before, the air in your lungs. It's huge. It's everything. So transitioning into our next point, can you go ahead and talk to us about the culture of actually Nebraska volleyball? How is it with the practice? How's the camaraderie between you and your teammates, your coaches, just everybody? How is it here in Nebraska?
Oh my goodness. The culture, everything about the relationships, it is so special, and it's unique every year. I figured that the culture we had last year in my relationships would somehow translate into this year, but it's completely different. And it's been adjusting, but it's so beautiful to what it is now. Oh my goodness, I can honestly say they are all my best friends, and I can lean on them, even if it's just in practice for a small moment, or to hit them up to go, say, play Fortnite. I'm just, again, beyond blessed to have such an amazing group of girls, and 14 of them. That's really rare to come by.
Right.
And so we're super special, and we push each other. Iron sharpens iron. So a fellow middle, Andy Jackson, she's my accountability partner. So an accountability partner is someone that whatever you struggle with, so say I tend to kind of get self-centered when I'm making errors, she's the kind of person that's got to pull me out of that. And I signed up for her to be that person, which means that I should be prepared that if I get into that place, Andy's going to be there to pull me out. And so it's, that's hard, because especially when you have someone where you're the same position, you're competing against each other for that spot. And so having that kind of trust where it's like she's doing this to help me, and it's not to belittle me or any way, or, it gets to that, like, oh, is she trying to, like, mess? No, like, she's there because she loves me, and we support each other, and it's iron sharpens iron. So our culture is very special. We push each other. We are a very, very competitive bunch. I think it's a great group.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's honestly so amazing, especially at the level that you guys play at, being able to have that. And on top of that as well, do you guys have any seniors on the team?
No.
There's no seniors on the team. You guys are so young and have so much potential, and I think that's just amazing how, you're going into your sophomore year kind of, because you're half sophomore. Right. So going into your half sophomore year, and then also having like a half freshman, being that accountability partner, being on that field with you. And like you said before, it's competition because you guys both play the same position, but it's also tough love. You guys are both killing it out there. You both, if you get into a rut, you're able to switch off, use each other for energy. I mean, that's amazing. So, Becca, go ahead and talk to us about what do you like to do just kind of outside of Nebraska volleyball. So we did tell the fans that we do Fortnite. You like to line dance on the side, but when you got to get away out of that zone, just away from everything, what is your first go-to?
Oh man, this one's hard because there's not a lot to pick from. One of my favorite hobbies is to redo furniture.
Really?
So refurnishing couches, shelves, building them. I recently did one in my apartment, and it's so rewarding, but it does take a lot of time. So with being a student athlete, you don't really have that. Most of it goes to school and athletics and like that little in-between time for your social life. So that kind of hobby doesn't really happen during season. So yeah, like we talked about, Fortnite, Minecraft, I've been leaning a lot into gaming recently. Also been picking up a book. So I like to read sometimes, just get my mind off of a screen, but also like keep it, active. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of hobbies. I guess you could count one nowadays is like scrolling on Instagram. Oh man, it's more of an addiction than a hobby, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we all have something, and scrolling on Instagram is definitely a hobby. I've caught myself lots of times doing that. I love posting on Instagram. This is my line of work for social media, so no shame there.
Yeah.
Like you said before, gaming. I love gaming. I think it's so cool. How it actually happened for anybody out there wondering. I saw her on Snapchat one day, and it was a video of her, like, I think she had a laptop in one place, and then it was Fortnite in the other.
Yes.
And I'm like, bro, I do the exact same
Yes.
thing. We have to run it up, and then that's why she's like, hey, let's play with my brother. So we ended up playing with her brother too.
Yeah.
So now it's our thing to go in, get a few victory royales together
Yes.
on no build. We're still learning.
Yes,
no build mode because we're good, but we're not that good now.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's great. It sounds like you have a really good balance too. You did say that you didn't think it was the most interesting, but that is interesting. Basically, with everything else you have going on, being able to have time for that book, for that game, just chilling. Even the hobby you said before, refurnishing furniture.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's amazing that you're able to have time for those types of things. Becca, closing thoughts for this podcast. Can you go ahead and give a message just for all of your fans out there and all of your supporters? Just what can they do to just enhance what's already been done this legendary season? It seems as though the bar has been set so high after that Memorial game, but then again, it's still so early within the season. So now you guys have all the eyes on you. So what can Husker Nation do to just support you, support your teammates, and just better the program overall, just as a unit?
Oh man, honest, I can't speak to this one confidently. Just support for who we are outside of our sport. Because, the expectation goes up, and I've seen the way Husker Nation, not all of them, but I should say specific individuals treat some of the boys on the Husker football team, and after them losing to Minnesota, just the hate some of them received was just ridiculous. Like, at the end of the day, they're just a bunch of guys that are putting their heart and soul to the sport, and you have no idea what they're balancing outside of it. So just supporting them and knowing that they did give their all, because as mistakes happen. It's a game. It's all about who's going to make the least amount of errors and who's going to do the right thing. So I guess for the volleyball team, is like we just ask for your support. The expectations are high, but nobody's perfect, and sometimes we're going to win ugly. So seeing those comments about, oh, I didn't like how so and so did this, like, we don't care, and we don't need that, because say I do decide to go look at the comments one day, and all there is nothing but these people. I'm like, I'll wait and hear that feedback from my coach. Because unless you're in the gym saying those kinds of things, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna be something that I see and I can't help but think about. And so I guess just genuine support. And as my mom always says, just be nice or be quiet. So, yeah.
Preach to mom, be nice or be quiet. I think a lot of people out there forget that we're 19, 18, 19,
Yeah,
20,
19 years
20.
old.
She's 19, I'm 20. So we were just freshmen in high school.
Yeah.
Now we're freshmen, sophomores, and juniors in college. I think a lot of people forget that we're still kids. We don't even know what we're doing. We are at this university trying our absolute best and getting bashed on Twitter. Some people have the willpower to not look, but a lot of people out there, you can't help yourself sometimes.
so
You have
hard.
to. It's hard not to look, and it's hard not to give in, because hate, unfortunately, sometimes can be more powerful than love, because if you let it get to you, it's really going to affect you. And I think that's really powerful what you just said as well. Just even for the Nebraska football team and everything that's going on, just being supportive and being, just remembering that we're still kids, we're still young, and we're still trying. And like you said before, just giving all the support and just supporting who you are personally outside, because you're more than just an athlete. And I think that's great.
More than an athlete, yeah.
And Becca, you have absolutely rocked this podcast.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
so much. If you have one last closing remark for anybody out there listening, what would you like to say?
Well, as a Christian, I'm always going to say follow God, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Dedicated my life to trying to be like him. Am I perfect? No. But man, does he bring me peace. Through my trials, tribulations, relationships. He brought Niko into my life. And Niko is such a light. He is such a blessing in just about anybody he encounters. So, yeah, that's my other thing. And never be afraid to be yourself, because I think everyone's trying to conform to be, they're too scared to offend others. But in this world, there's too much going on to be focused on how other people are feeling. Like, at the end of the day, you just got to be yourself. So, yeah.
There's not much to be so much after that. I hope you enjoy.